when I went to this website called familysearch.org, it's a free website. And it actually, so it's not like one of those free websites where it's like, yes, free for this month, and by next month you're paying a subscription. It's a free forever type website, which are few and far between. But you can do research on your family history, no matter what country you're from. So their records are very deep and they're very vast. So I mean to get on there, and I just don't make it on there very often because like life happens and it gets busy, but I always mean to. And today I was sitting on the couch and I was like sitting with the laptop on my lap, and I'm like, I want to look up something. I don't know what should I do? Let's, YouTube surf, right? I'm like, no, I should check this website, familysearch.org again. And I go on the website, log in, and there was this link that said, I don't know if it was like, see who's famous that you're related to or something to that effect. I don't remember. And I'm like, well, yours truly is not going to be related to anyone super famous. Let's get real. Like, I'm just average. And I know in the past it said there was like a famous scientist and a famous Olympian in the family. But I'd seen that last year, and that was kind of like, that's nice. That's yay for them. But I was not expecting to see a person who, it was a gentleman from the 1910s probably, an old photo, black and white. I'm like, oh, who's that? So I click on it, and the name Jose Venustiano Carranza de la Garza came up. And those of you in Mexico will know who he is, probably, possibly. But anywhere else, it's any other person's name. Like, it doesn't mean anything. Well, Jose Venustiano Carranza de la Garza was a president of Mexico. And I'm sitting there blinking like, like, that can't be right. Me related to a president? Like, how's that possible? And he's in the family tree. And I was wondering, like, how did I not know this? I feel like that would have somehow been passed down at some point. But as happens with many generations, sometimes the stories get lost in time. And I think it's one of those stories that did just that. It got lost to the family tree, that we had a president sitting there. So not sure how that happened. Well, maybe, okay, possibly. So my grandma, my wonderful grandma, died in the 80s, 2 years before I was born, actually. And I'm wondering if, because I came after, maybe that's why some stories got lost in transition there. It was like one of those light bulb, like, ding, like aha moments, like, oh my gosh, and exciting at the same time. So this is how it kind of plays out. The president of Mexico served from 1917 to 1920, only 3 years. And I don't know what the typical presidential time period is in Mexico, but 3 years sounded still short. And as I looked into it, he was assassinated, which was sad to hear. I was just like, oh my gosh, I wouldn't wish that on anyone. It's just horrible. And basically how we are related is he and I both have, we both come from a man by the name of Fernando Fernandez de Harina del Bosque, who was from Nuevo León. And he was married to a woman by the name of Maria Garcia de Hoyos, who is from Coahuila. And those two names of those departments are familiar to me because I know that we have a ton of relatives actually that live from those two departments. So that was familiar to me. But who the president comes from is from their daughter Isabel. And I come from their son Martin. So he is not a direct ancestor, like parent, grandparent, great grandparent. But he's on the sibling line going down. And I just feel honored to have him in the family tree. Like, it's exciting. I mean, I'm just regular, but he's like, up here. Not many people get to be presidents of countries. So that was a really exciting discovery. And it makes me want to go out and buy a book online on this president. Like, what was he famous for? What were his accomplishments during that short term in office? And as I was thinking it and doing research, I was just wondering, like, gosh, like, my ancestors, what kind of family gatherings did they have, and what stories were shared across the table? I know that the president, Venustiano Carranza, my pronunciation, had 2 surviving children. He had a total of 6 kids, and only 2 survived to adulthood. And one of those daughters got married on Christmas Day in San Antonio, and in the 1920s. It was like 1924, I think, is what it said online. And my grandma was from San Antonio area, and I'm just wondering, like, how many of my great grandparents were at the big powwow at the wedding of the president's daughter. Like, I mean, San Antonio wasn't all that big in the 1920s. Now it's exploded. But I mean, back then it was like, at smallest, it was like 160 something thousand up to like 240-ish. I mean, which is still like a range, but even 250,000 people is not that huge. So I'm just like, gosh, the stories that have not been passed down that I wish I knew, So now I've got to go do some digging. And y'all know I like doing research. Like, I'm going to be digging this thing to like notes, and my desk is going to be covered in sticky notes, but I'm going to see what I can find out about, like, what other things do I not know about? I'm going to be doing some research, but it's just exciting. It's really exciting. And so I wanted to take this moment of discovery and excitement, sharing that with you, but I want to encourage you to also find out what stories are in your family tree. I mean, I'm average. I am just regular. And if you think you're regular, you're still going to find some crazy cool junk in your family tree. And so I want to encourage you to set up an account on familysearch.org and see what you can find. I mean, there are pictures on there. And so if you want to know what your great grandparent looked like, that might be a great place to start. And just like, I feel like as I spend time on Family Search, my appreciation for my ancestors deepens. Like, they were real people that really lived and did exciting stuff. And I feel like I get to know them in a way by being this like detective through time to just like find out what they did and what life was like. I mean, they had far less luxuries than we do today and modern conveniences. I'm like, yeah, I could not have survived with the internet, pretty sure. Which is why probably God put me at a time such as this. Pretty sure. Thank you, Heavenly Father. So I just want to encourage you to do some research and see what you can find. And it's not a lot of time before you start finding stuff. Like, give it a couple hours and you're going to start finding some crazy stuff. And then leave me notes in the description box, or not in the description box, but in the comment section. Tell me what you find out. Like, I'm really curious. I mean, you don't have to go super into detail if you don't want to, but share information so then others can be encouraged to find out their family story. Anyway, good luck. Bye.